So my book was Schindler's List. It was a pretty interesting book. It's all about World War II, the Holocaust. It's a little bit of a twist to most World War II books because they're usually about like how everything was deadly, or like how like the Anne Frank one where she dies at the end. This one's a little bit more like uplifting because it's about a guy named Schindler, or Oscar Schindler, who creates a list that technically saves lives of future generations of Jews. What he does is, when the Jews start being rounded up to be taken to concentration camps and eventually killed, he actually thinks about it because he was a businessman and decides that he's going to actually take a couple of them, and he's going to make them work more like slaves in a way, right? So he thinks he's going to make a lot more profit out of it, and since at the moment you can't pay Jews, he's just going to keep them safe, like in a way, like give them a home and somewhere where they can eat, right? That's how he's repaying them. So at the moment, he's just doing this, and he has an accountant that's also a Jew named Stein. And Stein is given the opportunity to take care of the business, which becomes a problem eventually because he actually takes advantage of it and begins bringing in Jews from concentration camps to work that might not survive. And then this becomes what they call Schindler's List, where he actually gets mad at Stein for doing this because like one guy's missing an arm, which is not going to be able to work for him. But he starts getting feelings towards like they shouldn't actually be killing people. So he becomes aware that this isn't the right thing. So he starts bringing in people from like different concentration camps and keeping them alive and wasting bribing other Nazis at the concentration camps, like prisoner like holders or whatever, to by giving them golden watches and stuff to give them certain Jews and cross them out the list and say if they died. So this becomes Schindler's List. It's by Thomas Keneally. It's recommended. Can you read this quote, Selena?
We'll end up somewhere warm with Schindler's List.
Okay, so at this point in the book, they eventually becomes a point where his Jews are in the list, right? They're his Jews. But they get them and they round them up and they put them in the train and send them to Auschwitz. Now at Auschwitz, they're going to kill them. They have no record of them belonging to Schindler, and they don't really care at the moment. They're just going to get rid of them. So he returns back for them. He goes all the way back and rounds up his people. It's like, these are the people that are on my list. I have rights over them, which is what he calls it. I use this image because in a way I use the idea of the floating ground, because all this down here is barren ground. There's nothing left, everything's dark, everything's destroyed. You don't see life down here. But here there's a floating land, which I represented. I thought it was more like Schindler holding up life. So the tree is the Jews, the small branch that eventually become now, since he saved 1,100, I believe it was 1,100 Jews. They become eventually what he says, saving the next generation, because the branches leave out the tree of life. And I thought the whole idea of Schindler, he was the light in the center was hope, because he actually, a lot of people say he was doing it towards his benefit, but then at the same time, it's hope. No matter how you look at it, it was hope towards the Jews, because he was sustaining them. He was holding down the ground for a certain generation to keep on going. Next. This one. Junior, can you read this quote?
Yes.
Aman?
Sorry. One Oscar would pay him $7,400. What? Dollars? If he did it natural, it would be $14,800. But if I win, I'll set Oscar, then you give me Helen.
Okay. Okay. So Helen.
How you gonna tell me to read and not let me finish?
Alright, so Helen was the maid of a German Nazi that was named Aman. Now, Aman was one of the most, I guess in the moment you could say throughout the book, the most evil, the bad guy in the book, but because he would kill like instantly. He would just like, if he didn't like someone, he would get rid of them. Not because, like, he tries to explain it like, not because he didn't like him, but it was his job. He had no other choice. But he falls in love with his maid, which is this beautiful woman, and named Helen. And Helen is actually sleeping with him, but in return, he's not killing. So when she sleeps with him, he's not allowed to kill anybody or any other Jews. So Schindler sees that eventually Amon's gonna kill her, right? He tells him like, I'm gonna kill her because, like, me myself, like, when it comes to it, I'm gonna have to kill her myself, but because out of love, like, I don't want anybody then turning into like a gas chamber, doing something else, like what he knows they're gonna do to them. He's like, I'm gonna kill her like by hand. That way I show my love and like painless death and whatever. Schindler, on the other side, believes that if he takes her, he'll keep her alive. I related this image to it because I thought the devil would have been Amon, and Schindler is the magician in a way. This is because what they do to determine Helen's fate is they play a quick game of cards, poker, and the winner would keep it. If Amon wins, Schindler's just going to pay him a lot more cash for his winning. If Schindler wins, he would get Helen's name in his list, which means she would survive. I use this image because at the same time, like, my consistent throughout the whole book idea was Schindler has to fight between being good and being bad, because he is a Nazi and he is keeping them as slaves, which is slavery is just bad in general, but at the same time he is saving them. So I thought the devil was Amon in the whole idea because he was the one killing them, and then Schindler was the nice stressed guy because he was always like really nice, bribing people through his money, but at the same time he has a little devil on his corner telling them it's like, oh, you know, you're doing this for your selfish reasons, not because you're trying to save anybody. So my whole idea was relating like the idea of playing cards for life, as the devil playing cards for, if of course, like they say, if you play with the devil, you might lose your soul. It's just like keeping souls between people, and the devil's being like throughout everywhere inside of him, within both of them, but Schindler just keeps it more natural. Next. Okay, George, read this.
There was a Schindler list that was worth everything to be on it.
So I thought this quote was really interesting because it kind of just brings out the idea of like Schindler's List being like the important one throughout the book. I use this image because, like in game of chess, there's always like conflicts everywhere. Like there's spots where you stop, or like easy, like taking out the next opponent. But in this one, if you see, the chess pieces are uniquely the same. You don't see like most chess games, you see like the dark ones and the white ones, or like where you can tell the difference, but these ones just seem transparent. These of course look a little darker, but they're just like instantly, like you really can't tell so quickly. And I thought throughout this, it was like his conflict of him and his evil side. People say he's good because they say, oh, he did it off of heart to save the Jews. Others say he's bad because he did it thinking is like, oh, I'm gonna be called a hero at the end if I save all these people. So I just thought it was a conflict between like the idea of him being bad or good, and the center part is more lightened up, and I connected this to like throughout the war, he starts viewing himself out more once the conflict starts, because you never say is like, you can say it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that, or this is what's gonna happen, which is the shady parts around. But once it comes down to it in the center where the battle conflicts, you start realizing who you truly are, which in the idea, many people start realizing that Schindler might have been a good guy because no matter what his intentions were, he actually saved millions of lives. I thought the reflections were just in a way, his ideas like might have been shown out, you know, like through his actions, he could have tried his best, because there's the part where he tells him, he's like, oh, isn't today Friday? He's like, isn't today where you're supposed to pray, like to your daughter stuff? And his actions kind of shows like, oh, he might have been good, right? He was actually trying to like bring out their ideas, like he wasn't holding them back from what they were truly. But at the same time, he might have been doing it as like in a joke. It's like, oh, just go for it, and that way you can tell people it's like, oh, I did this for you. I showed you who you were, but because of me, you're alive. So in the end, the Jews end up calling themselves Schlin Jews, which is like they call themselves under the idea of Schindler because they survived through him. So that was my idea.